Guess who's back? It's me. Again. Never actually left. Because it's already 11/19/2023, 2:16 a.m. And I was reading your guys' messages saying that I should sleep because I shouldn't work 80 hours. By the way, I'm not bragging when I talk about my 80-hour work week. I'm just letting you guys know. But the whole sleep thing, you guys are like, Nika, don't let this bother you, please. Don't let it bother you. You're never going to get to the bottom of it. Don't let Bryan ruin your sleep. It's not worth it. He's not worth it, girlfriend. How dare you? And then you tell me I'm going to age terribly. Rude. But honestly, it's like, I've probably never slept well in my entire life between you and I. Actually, the time I remember, the only time I remember sleeping well was probably in the military, in the Navy. Were any of you guys ever in? Do you guys remember like boot camp, the barracks with the red lights? Something was like so relaxing. I would just knock out immediately. Maybe I should get a red light for my room. Those were magical. Best sleep ever. So no, Bryan isn't like keeping me up. It's not like I'm just so stressed and frazzled. I just never really sleep that much. And as for aging terribly, it's like, I've already done that. I've put my body through the ringer. It's like I'm 90. So it is what it is. Here we are with our 90-year-old body and our 90-year-old brain. But I was changing out of my dress and I'm like, I'm going to get comfy. I'm going to put a sweater on. And I'm like, yeah, let's put this soft, comfy sweater on. And now I'm like, Vans, Vans. Just like the affidavit said. The diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Vans type shoe sole. And now I can't sleep. And some of you guys, yesterday's video, you were like, Nika, where are you getting your information from? Because you're not making any sense. Nowhere in the affidavit does it say that there was evidence that anyone had tried to clean up the crime scene. And I'm like, am I losing my mind here? Because I read this freaking thing like 4 times already. And I'm pretty sure it said that. And it did. It did. I was right. I knew it. I'm always right. Not always, actually, but it doesn't tell you directly. It tells you in forensic terms. And I understand that. I haven't really actually introduced myself in this channel. But the people that are coming from my old channels, you guys know that I have a science lab degree. So I have some knowledge of this stuff. So I read the affidavit and this is what it says, guys. Pay attention to this fancy forensic speak. It says, during the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. Latent shoe print. What in the world is a latent shoe print? So I find a forensics site and it says, a latent print is one that is not ready, visible to the naked eye. Not visible to the naked eye? Does that mean I can't see it? That's what that means. It also says this type is created through static charges between sole and the surface. Examiners use powders, chemicals, or light sources to find these prints. Okay, so it wasn't visible to the naked eye. Then it says, this was located during the second processing of the crime scene by ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black. Amino black is a stain that checks for cellular material. It's looking for proteins. So I'm going to translate this legal speak to English now. It's saying there's an invisible shoe print, a latent shoe print that wasn't seen because it was invisible, which is why it wasn't located until the second time the forensic team went through. When they used the presumptive blood test, right? So then they do this test and they're like, oh, there's a diamond shoe shape pattern here, similar to the Vans shoe sole. So what does that mean? That means somebody tried to clean up the crime scene. Somebody cleaned the crime scene. They just didn't do a very good job, because let me tell you a little about something about unaliving somebody, guys, or body fluids in general. Body fluids, yes, you can wipe them down, but the proteins of the blood can soak onto the surface. And in this case, because of the type of surface, it's soaked in. It's soaked into the surface, which is why it was picked up by the light, because those proteins were picked up by the light. Now, my question is, who tried to clean that? Was it the guy that supposedly was out there outside her bedroom door, Dylan's door? Or was it Dylan? I just think it's funny how this is consistent with Dylan's statement, because she said, yeah, the masked suspect traveled this way and there's a shoe print there. So, okay, interesting. But now you cannot tell me that my timeline is messed up. I'm going to tell you your timeline is messed up, because obviously somebody cleaned the crime scene. Somebody cleaned a shoe print. Somebody cleaned a shoe print. Now you're going to tell me that Bryan, who has never committed this type of crime before, as far as we know, just went in there, first time, first crime, unalived 4 people, stabbed 157 times. God knows what else did to the rest, because it was bad. And then cleaned in the dark, went around to find the footprints, found the one footprint, and managed to clean it up. Sort of, but not really. In 10 minutes. Yeah, I don't think so. No. He didn't do it. Or he did it with other people. This to me sounds like something a group of people did, or people who had a lot of time. Now, you can let me know in the comments who you think. Who do you think had a lot of time on their hands? I know 2 people who had at least 8 hours. So, no way are you ever going to convince me that Bryan did this alone in 10 minutes, found the bloody footprint and wiped it down in the dark and just was out, in and out, just like that. Not only that, but you're going to try to convince me, the audacity. You're going to try to convince me that this guy only left DNA in like a tiny button. I actually have one of those knives. In a tiny button. Okay, those buttons on those sheaths, they're small. Right there. That's the only DNA. This guy has never committed any crimes like this. And he's just a freaking pro, according to some of you guys. He's just no DNA anywhere else. You're telling me he went to at least 2 different floors. No sweat, no tears, no blood, no cuts. No nothing, no bruises. After unaliving 4 people and potentially having to fight another male off. A large male off. Not one wound on his hands or body that we know of. He's just a pro, Nika. You don't get it. You just don't get it. He's highly intelligent. He studied criminology. He's sick in the head. I'm like, I studied criminology. Like, I had to take some criminology courses for my psych degrees, guys. Criminology is not forensics. Those are two completely different degrees. Completely different. Forensics, you're learning about DNA and physical evidence. Criminology, you're studying the mind of deviant behaviors, deviant people, what motivates them, why they act the way they do, their backgrounds, how they grew up, how they were raised. Okay, he studied criminology. He was more about how people work. I think that's what his jam was. That's what my jam is. Why do people do the things they do? Why are there so many idiots out there? Why? Why can't everyone just be kind to one another? That's the hippie in me talking. But he wasn't a freaking forensics PhD. Okay? So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. 10 minutes? Could you do that? Could you do that? Well, I couldn't, but he could because he's like 6 foot something. He could totally do it in 10 minutes. No, not buying it. Not buying it. I think there's a better explanation. And I think a lot of people don't want to talk about it because it puts the spotlight on two young, beautiful sorority young ladies. And it's a big no-no, right? You get shunned. I've gotten shunned for mentioning that. Like that's a possibility, and it is. We have to consider all the possibilities. And we definitely have to consider the possibilities when the two people that happen to magically survive were in the house the whole time. You can't discount that. Well, they're just two young girls. Nika, you're just jealous. I've had people tell me that already. You're just jealous of them. What? I don't even know these people. What? This is not about emotions. I get emotional. I don't get emotional. I get passionate because people are very biased, heavily biased. They either lean heavily to one side or the other. And to me, I try to be analytical as possible. I don't care that I'm not trying to protect people's feelings. I'm not trying to protect Dylan's feelings or Bethany's feelings. I'm not trying to protect Bryan's feelings. I'm not trying to protect my own feelings. If I find something, evidence within the affidavit or something that points me in a certain direction, I will take that evidence into account and maybe form a new conclusion or maybe add it to my current theory or theories. That's how science is supposed to be done. That's how an analysis is supposed to be done. You don't just discount people because they look a certain way or they appear to be innocent. No. And you know why? Because I know that if it was me in that house that had been a survivor with another female friend or a male friend, I know that I would get questioned. I don't think that they would just easily oh yeah, she didn't do it, she's innocent. I don't think so. And I wouldn't want to either. I think LE, they have to do their job fully. Do your job, guys. That's what I'm paying you to do. Well, taxpayers, right? All of us. I can imagine like I can imagine, okay, the police showing up at lunchtime, because that's when they were called. 8 hours later. 8 hours later. Yeah, it was totally not them. Oh my God. They're each other's alibi. Do you think that police would be as kind to you if you were in that situation? Do you think that if you and your bestie, your homeboy, your homegirl, your home person or thing, idea, if you were there when 4 people had been unalived, do you think that you would get the same treatment as these 2? Why are they getting that treatment? That's what we need to know. Why were they discounted so quickly? I hope we find out soon, because that bugs me to my core. Bugs me to the core. I remember an interview with the parents of one of the survivors, and the mother was saying, we don't know why these couple people, she didn't mention names, she said couple people, why were they discounted so quickly? Why? And I'm pretty sure she was referring to Dylan and Bethany, because she mentioned in that interview that this couple had been cleared in an hour. And that is the same. That matches the quickness that Dylan and Bethany were cleared with. That speediness. And I also put myself in the shoes of the poor parents. I can't imagine. Like, I can't imagine. Can you imagine being a parent, having, these beautiful children who are out of the home, becoming adults, learning about the world, have these huge plans to be somebody, do things, start their life on their own. And from one day to the next, just like that, they're gone. In a horrific tragedy. Horrific. I know I would want every single avenue explored. Everyone is a damn suspect. And if you're in that house, you better be interviewed. And if they cleared you, there better be a damn good reason why they cleared you that quickly. I mean an actual good reason. Not because your daddy threatened somebody, or your mommy threatened somebody, or your people come from money. And I'm not saying that that's what happened. By the way, this is my opinion, speculation, blah, 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 covering my behind. I'm talking about I would have that innate need to know how these other girls were cleared, because my child is now gone. And you were in the house the whole time. And you didn't call the police, the popos, until lunchtime. I have questions for you. That would be me. That would be my reaction. I think most parents, I think that would be their reaction. So I need to go to bed now. It's 2:36 a.m. Okay, now that I got this Vans thing out of my head, I can go to sleep. So, good night, guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning, I hope. Stay tuned. I have a very interesting video for tomorrow. Very interesting video. So, see you guys tomorrow.